What's up, guys? Orbital Bacon here, back with a review of this week's episode of Kamen Rider Geo, Episode 2, Best of Match. Joining me is my friend MadMonkXiggi.
Going on, guys?
This was an interesting episode. I like how it picks up with the fight from last week. Gates in his ghost armor.
Yeah, still confused about that, but I guess they'll reveal it within the next few episodes.
There were some interesting theories in the comments of how he got that ghost armor. My personal opinion is Takaru died. Or that's what I'm hoping.
He dies?
He died again. Gates got the ghost watch.
Spoiler.
Danger.
I'm not gonna lie though, once they do the ghost episode of Geo, it might prompt me to go and watch the series. I'm not gonna make that promise though, but it might.
So yeah, I like how Gates and Geo, well, it's not, Geo isn't really putting up much of a fight. It's more like Gates is just attacking Geo with the Parka Ghost.
Gates' attitude at this point, it's making it kind of hard to hate him, because I believe his line was, "You haven't done anything wrong yet, but I still have to do this." So there is a bit of remorse in Gates. He's not just straight up out to kill Geo. He has it in the back of his mind that he might be doing something wrong by killing Geo before he becomes Geo.
Yeah.
So it's not just... he's not just fine with murdering him. He does have that thought in his head that it's, I know this is wrong, but I still need to do it.
So when we get that cool scene of Gates talking to Tsukuyomi, where we see that they're not enemies, they're just going about this same goal two very different ways. Gates mentions the time jackers and gives these time traveling criminals a name.
It's odd that Gates would know about the time jackers if Gates and Tsukuyomi are just normal people from the future, unless time traveling criminals is like a normal thing in the future.
They can't be too normal. I mean, how did Gates become a Kamen Rider? Are we going to get an origin story for him?
We will probably get that either in the show or like one of the specials that they do.
And then Waz pays Sogo another visit.
Yeah.
So this wasn't really anything that important. This was just more of him saying, you're destined to do things.
Yep, you're going to be this, and I'm here to watch you do it.
Yeah, and then he just leaves. And then we get the return of the build Kaijin, of another build. Is this where we get the first official look at, or a good look at, our first good look at the rider kick, Geo's rider kick?
Yes, I believe so. I don't think he did it in the first episode.
Yeah, in the first episode, I remember him using the sword because we were talking about the puns with the Edge of Time. So in this one, I believe this is a first good look at the rider kick. But that only, like, it blew him up, like it destroyed another build, Kaijin build. But then he came right back. He's like stuck in a time loop or something. Well, this is obviously Wool's doing.
Something. Yeah, but I don't know. It might not even be Wool's doing. It might be a power that he obtained. You have to think that if another build existed back during Sento and Banjo's era, which was about a year ago, and he's still around now, that means he's probably been rampaging for about a year.
Just running around making faces at people, eating full bottles.
Yeah, so you can imagine at some point he probably gained some kind of power.
What did you think of the Kaijin build's voice? How he was running around like best match.
I mean, it sounded very, I guess, zombie-ish.
Yeah,
very not intelligent, like very low intelligence,
like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because I noticed that when the Kaijin build Ride Watch was activated, that it had more of the classic, you know, deep voice like build. But the actual build Kaijin himself, like you said, sounded almost like a low intelligence monster, kind of like Frankenstein's monster or some sort of zombie type thing. Because yeah, it was just like best match. It was really weird. It was different from what they normally do, so I liked it in that regard. But it almost, maybe because he was saying it so much and it was such a droll tone, that I was like, all right, I'm done with it.
Yeah, I got over it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So why didn't Sento and Banjo have their memories? What's going on?
Because reasons.
Are they undoing Build's story with this, or is this supposed to be taking place in an alternate Build reality?
I think this takes place in an alternate world that's based on Build's timeline, because it's one of those things. It's just like, well, if you do this, then the rest of Build doesn't make sense. But this isn't Build. This is Geo. Right.
Well, as soon as Geo arrived and it seemed different, you know, that Banjo and Sento had their different memories, or it wasn't even Sento, it was Takumi at one point. It immediately made me think of Decade, how when Decade would visit the other worlds, they even were referred to as ARs, as another realities, and they were slightly altered, or in some cases greatly altered, versions of the original worlds that those Kamen Riders were based on. So it almost made me feel like, is this something akin to that, where Geo is going to similar timelines, but it's not quite. We're trying to come up with an in-universe explanation, and obviously the outside universe explanation would be that they started writing and filming Geo before Build was over. So I mean, obviously they didn't know how Build was exactly going to end, and that's why. But it's nice to try to figure out, or at least come up with your own, if they don't explain it, your own version of, you know, why exactly this Build world or this Build timeline is a little bit different than what we might have expected based on the end of Build.
Yeah, because I mean, if you watched all of Build and you watch the Heisei finale movie, then you would know, spoiler, that it takes place on an alternate universe or alternate world.
Yeah.
Which I don't think this show is going to go that route at all. So which it makes me think that you take every world that's existed so far, so every show basically, and then it all comes together in its own world, and like each one probably exists in this same world, because this looks like a show that's only going to be time-based. It doesn't look like it's going to be multiverse-based.
It makes me hopeful that, like I said, there's an outside universe reason why Build isn't matching up in Geo, but every other Rider series is well over, and they should be able to match those worlds up if this is a strictly time travel thing and it's not an other reality thing. The time jackers that Gates refers to earlier in this episode, Wool would be one of those. Is that safe to assume?
Yes. And then he has two other, like, I wouldn't say cohorts, but partners that haven't been introduced yet, but they're in the opening, so we know they're coming.
So who's the real time jacker?
Well, time jackers are still the time jackers regardless, but who's the real reason behind history changing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Flash. Who's the villain now, Flash?
Yeah. Is Geo gonna bust out the cosmic treadmill?
Hey. We probably shouldn't joke about that. It might come out.
It might. Kamen Rider is not above a cosmic treadmill. In fact, a cosmic treadmill might be too normal for Kamen Rider. They're like, no, it's not weird enough. We talked about Build Armor a little bit in the last video because it was shown in the preview, like we knew it was coming. It's also been shown in some of the promotional material, the Build Armor. So we kind of knew it was coming. It was cool to see it in action. The the poses. The best part of the build armor was Sento trying to get Sogo to pose like him, and he just failed miserably.
Yeah, I mean, Sento looked pretty disappointed.
So at the tail end of the episode, we see the next legendary rider that Sogo will be encountering, and that is Imu, the genius gamer.
Yeah, X-Aid's back. I love X-Aid.
X-Aid was great. It was one of those that grew on me. There's been some Kamen Rider shows that I loved immediately. There's been some that I hated immediately, and then there's been a few that had to grow on me a little bit that I didn't necessarily dislike right away, but they weren't instant favorites. And X-Aid was one of those. X-Aid was one of those where I watched the first few episodes and I was like, okay, I don't hate it, but I'm not loving it. But once it got going, man, and it ended strong too. X-Aid was great. We do see another X-Aid, the Kaijin X-Aid,
which it looks pretty cool. I do kind of miss the giant eyes that I'm so used to from X-Aid, and the spikes on another X-Aid's head look more like hair than they do spikes.
Oh, it gave me Predator vibes. I was digging it.
Oh yeah, because it has like those strands coming down the side of the face as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I noticed in this preview that we see Hiro, but we don't see Taiga.
Uh-oh. Maybe he'll show up in the actual episode.
And if you didn't notice, I mean, I could just be wrong. My ears could have been playing tricks for me, but it sounded like Parad was speaking in the preview as well.
So we've been discussing, basically the events of the episode, how they've been playing out these first two episodes. And one thing that didn't really cross my mind up until now was what is Wool's motivation? Like, okay, so we know he's a time jacker. We know he can create these Kaijin watches. But what is his point? Is he trying to bring about the Demon King? Does he even come from that same future? What do we know about Wool's motivation?
Oh no, Wool's motivation is that he wants someone else to be the Demon King. He's traveling through time to stop Sogo from becoming the Demon King because he wants to groom his own Demon King from someone else.
In the Twilight Chronicle, as far as everyone knows, Sogo is the one, since he gets the Geo power, he's the one that becomes the Demon King. But I'm wondering if somewhere along the way, we're going to discover that someone else had become the Demon King. And so Wool, everyone, all these people who, whether they're trying to get a different Demon King or the same one or prevent it, whatever it may be, I think it's going to end up being Sogo, as almost like as a twist, so to speak. Like, he'll be the different Demon King, but he'll be good because it's Sogo.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that sounds likely what's going to happen. Because when you start doing like time travel stories, it gets very hectic. It's like, okay, butterfly effect. You have this time traveler going back in time, and the smallest thing he does will just change everything. Like, Gates and Tsukiyomi just being in the past is already changing a lot, I feel. Same with the Time Jackers.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is if that's exactly what I'm wondering, is because the delicate nature of time travel, and a lot of these events seem like they're unknown, not only to us, the audience, but even to some of these characters, that Tsukiyomi, Gates, Wool, Waz, they're all going to end up unknowingly to each other working towards the same goal, which is, getting Sogo to be in the place of the Demon King, because I don't think he's the actual Demon King in the future.
Let's be real, it's Tsukasa.
Alright, so that's episode 2 of Kamen Rider Geo in the books. What did you guys think? What could be the true motivation of the Time Jackers? We'll be back next week for episode 3. Thanks for watching.